All right. Welcome, John. Welcome, Lee. How y'all doing? We sound is okay. No, there's a lag. Doing great, John. Glad to ask. I've just been plugging away on the brewery. Nope, that's the old. Is that the new? Never tell if that's a file or if that's it's live. Hey, hi. Welcome. Probably boring today. I only got one little thing in the mail. Hello, Ethan Armitage. Up in Lisle, Illinois. Did play around with JMRI last night again, trying to figure out how to build a train. Um, let's say I wanted to build a train of just all my military loads, and but they're scattered around. Well, I don't want them going to industries to find it, but I did make a train that goes from it starts at my Santa Fe yard, Van Buren, picks up any military cars there. Then it goes to Aurora, the Burlington yard, Aurora Eola, picks up any military cars there, and then goes off to staging. All right, which I'm calling Fort Hood because that's where armored would go. Oh, really? There's a hobby store back in Downers Grove again? There was when I was a wee little chap. Um, it moved out, and it was right by the corner of Main and Curtis downtown. Hello, WWW, aka Steven. Yeah, moved out of downtown Downers Grove in the early 60s and went over to Westmont and was there, gosh, early 70s, and then moved out to Darien. I'm glad to hear there's a new one in Downers again. I know you got Lombard Hobbies just north of Downers Grove, up in, of all places, Lombard. Dwight, how's it going? In case anybody's curious about brewery, there you go. Part 10.5 should be out tomorrow. But it was all fixed before I even posted part 10.4 showing the error of my ways. So I'm in the process now of doing all the white highlights on the cornices and sills and such, because this building's architecture is pretty ornate. I've already got the different, if you look closely, you'll notice the brickwork varies in color. and which intentionally. That's where I'm at on it. I should have a 10.5 update out tomorrow, probably 11:30. Or Cousin Viddy's premiere if he's doing one tomorrow. Well, that's a shame, Dwight. It's not much of a hobby store if it doesn't sell train stuff. That's what I like about Hobby Lobby and Michael's. They don't have crap as far as trains. And even Hobbytown USA doesn't have that much. You gotta find the mom and pop. I tell you what, I'm hooked on CabooseStopHobbies.com. Every Wednesday, they do a live stream on YouTube. And they do multiple. They do a half an hour for N, a half an hour for HO, and a half an hour for O scale. And they'll put stuff up, and if you want, they discount the prices. If you want it, you just post it on there, and you call them up the next day, Thursday or Friday, and pay for it, and tell them where to ship it. I mean, it's mom and pop. Carol looks, she's probably, late 60s, and her husband's been sick, Merlin, and or Merlin, I can't pronounce the name, and but it's just a mom and pop hobby store, Cedar Falls, Iowa, and I swear I went to this place when I was in college, and I was dating. I went to school at Iowa State. Cedar Falls, a couple hours, 2.5 hours northeast, and where University of Northern Iowa was, and I was dating a girl there. I think I stopped in that hobby store way back when. Hey, Mr. John Linton, Mr. Light Bleed himself, Light Bleed Preventer. So. And the radio controlled planes or just model planes, Dwight? I'm guessing radio controlled. So anyway, at Caboose Stop 2 weeks ago, I picked up I picked up 4 items. I picked up a Burlington boxcar, Texaco tank car, I can't for the life of me remember what the other 2 were. 2-bay hopper? Yeah, 2-bay hopper, something else. Then this Wednesday, I picked up a Santa Fe flat car and a Union Pacific, I think it's a 40-foot pup trailer. Oh, okay. Dynamic balsa, okay. So I got another flat car for military loads. For my military train. It's got to haul all the Illinois National Guard stuff from. Why is preventing light bleed from building? I don't understand the question, John. Why is it bad? It's not bad. I'm just saying you're you're fixated on it. I do it. Didn't do it in one place, just one little place, because it was a joint. And yes, you came up with the basis of a good idea. I had to refine it. I still have one building on the layout that has a light bleed issue and has had from day one. I keep saying I'm going to fix it, and I just haven't done it. But you haven't. Why is it important? Because it ruins an illusion. Don't even say prototypical to me, because I'm not a prototypical modeler. Proto-representative. So there. I think Rick Bailey is hooked on Caboose Stop Hobbies too. He's been there every Wednesday. Even Ray Bobel showed up this last Wednesday at the end. I don't think he bought anything though. I called Carol at Caboose Stop yesterday, and they had not shipped my stuff out from the week before, and she told me she may not get a chance to, and that's fine. I said, well, hold the horses. Why don't you just hold them all till next Thursday? Because who knows? I might buy something again Wednesday. Yeah, that's the other reason, because John will nag me about it. Nag. And for those that don't know, John was the first YouTuber to come visit my layout, and we became good friends, and spent almost every weekend afterwards running trains. But he had to go and take a job up in Tennessee, so he moved. So anybody got big plans? Any big train shows this weekend anybody's going to? I think there's some in Pinellas Park that's not going. Every time I go to train shows. Yeah, now I'm all alone, Dwight. Invitation's open for anybody coming to Tampa. Yes, John, I understand. I thought it was just to get away from me. That's what my wife tells me. In case anybody wants to pop on up here. Poor Dwight. Hey, Mystic, how you doing? One of these days, I'll probably stop in and see Mystic. Oh, out to Baton Rouge, and I travel to Texas. Typically, at least once a year. Well, thank you, John. I like it. Hey, Digger. I really like the details you were showing off in your latest video. Yes, I think it was yesterday. Hey, Johns. I guess if Mystic is John 7, then Mr. Linton, you would be John 8, 9, ever. Well, when you're in Louisiana, everything happens at night, so. Mr. Light Bleed. Very good, John. Very good. I don't think you have sound, do you? Not hearing anything, John. Better not be driving. No sound.
How about now?
It helps. It helps to unmute yourself.
Yeah, well, I can't see too well with glasses on. No, Steve, I really enjoyed watching your videos on your industrial area up there along the shelf area.
In my Aurora?
In your Aurora, yes, sir.
It's coming along. I've got the transformer for the power supply for the smoke unit. I've got the smoke unit to go in the chimney. Once I have the buildings set, and I'm not talking about permanently set, but marked off where they're gonna go, then I can start on the front fascia retaining wall that hides the copper strips and set the track. I'll have to wire the track, or at least put the drops in for the track, and then I can put in the street, so forth.
Yeah, I think it'll be good if you have one switcher up there moving a freight car back and forth.
Yeah, I've already contacted Iowa Scale Engineering and about getting a motorman, because I want to put a couple, you put sensors on each end and goes, and there's a delay, but you can add sensors so I can make it physically stop at different buildings, all right, automatically.
That would be cool.
So that it gives kind of a more random appearance. It's just not going back and forth. It goes, stop here, wait, a minute, go down to the next spot, stop, and wait 30 seconds, then go down to the end, whatever I want to do. But I got to buy the extra sensors, and I think sensors come in a pair. I think they're like $20 for a pair or something like that. Motorman itself.
That's not bad.
Yeah, the Motorman itself is all inclusive with one pair, and it's about $100. So, but that's the plan.
That's good. And then, yeah, I think that will really make that pop up there.
Yeah, and then the other one thing I don't think I ever even told you, John, but over on the side, where that camera is above those engines and stuff, that's actually going to be another separate lift-off section. It'll be a bridge going from the back to the front.
Oh, okay.
And to help hide the front of that staging yard, but yet removable, so I can get down where everything's parked and so forth easily. So
yeah, that sounds good. Should have had all that done when I was down there running on your railroad.
Yeah. Look how much I've gotten done since you left.
You've done a lot.
A lot.
When I don't waste a whole day of your weekend running trains with you, you can get something done.
Yeah, I had to
Maybe it's good that I left.
I had to take a day this week or last week, and because I didn't have any glue, so I just ran trains for a couple days.
Nothing wrong with that. Isn't that why you're building the whole thing anyway?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And you weren't on. I don't know if you were on yet, but I played around with JMRI, and I made a train that will go to both yards. JMRI, build the train, and it'll go to both yards, picking up all military cars, my box cars and my flat cars.
All
right, and then take them to staging, which is Fort Hood.
Very good. I've been there. Been there, done that.
Yeah. Anybody in the armor has been there.
Yes. It's called the armpit of the Army.
Yeah. Armor pit of the Army.
No, armpit. You know.
It could be worse.
Underarm.
You could be in the artillery and have to go to Fort Lawton. I mean Fort Sill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd never been there.
And Fort Bliss is even worse.
Hmm.
In El Paso.
Well,
Hey,
I'm gonna
Jason.
get off here, Steve. I got to move the vehicle, so I got to drive.
All right, yeah, no, you
Wanted
can't do
to
it.
jump in.
All right, we'll talk to you later, John.
Okay, you take care.
Thanks for popping in. All right, bye.
Bye. I'll still be on though.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. All right, hey, Randall. Welcome. Yes. Now that well, I don't know if you're the only beard, Jason. You know, you got to remember Lynn. And used to be you had to remember Artie. Oh yes, Fort Leonard Wood. Yes, I know numerous people. I've driven by it 100 times. Know numerous people that did their basic there up in Missouri. He just thinks he's a great guest. That's the first time I think you've been on. You're the only bearded freak. Okay, I'll give you that one, Jason. I'm going to try play. Oh, here's what the difference is between the two buildings. 10.4 on the left, and this will be the 10.4 on the left is the shot at the end of 10.4, and then the one on the right is the beginning of 10.5. So I post it tomorrow. I'm playing with cameras, guys. Mail train coming. It's the only mail train for today, guys. Yes, it's a video playing, so it's going to be jerky and sound's not going to be good. Some of the narration will be bad. But it is what it is. Hey, Roy, welcome. Where are you at today? All right, see you later, Lee. But the Cotton Belt didn't go to Chicago, Jason. Do need an Illinois Central, city of New Orleans. That Rock Island Rocket. I really like the sound files I upgraded into my E units. They put them on play, and it'll randomly set off the horns. And I've got enough little grade crossings in different places. It's almost always by a grade crossing. It's a special. How about a presidential special, Jason? But if they're 85-foot cars, they're not going to work on my. It's not that the turns are too much, but like Walther's cars, the trucks don't far enough. And Riviosi's got to replace all the couplers. All right, here we come in the station. All right. Well, anybody want to guess what I got in the mail? And I got it last Friday right after the stream. And I had mentioned I was waiting for it. Oh, if they're Ather and Bev Bell, they work. All of mine are Atherns, and even though they were packed away, I had to replace a lot of the plastic trucks on them because the heat, so forth. Oh, you already replaced all the trucks and wheels? Did you replace the trucks and the wheel sets? That's what I had to do on most of mine, not all of them. Still got a car here or there I got to work. And they're the hardest thing to figure out because you can't see it. Just mysteriously will derail in certain places and change out, put a new set of trucks on it, and no more problems. So warp ever so much that it just throws them off. Yeah, I know. Mean. Thought I had some, but I don't. I just have the ones I took off. Maybe. 4 sets back here that I've taken off. Time to buy new ones. Plus I keep freight sets. Okay, so what I got in the mail last Friday was one of the ones I was waiting on. You may recall I was out of glue there for a while. Yeah, it's 2 trucks. They want, if you watch eBay now, the going price for an Athearn passenger car is upwards to $30. Fine, offensive since I bought most of mine for 10. But anyway, that's what I got. I already had the orange, which is the general purpose, and this is the one for styrene and ABS. So I'm fully stocked on glue again. I've got my Tamiya extra fine green lid. I got my orange Plastruck. I got my white Plastruck. I got my super glues. I got my tacky glues. I got the glue gun. I got all kinds of glue. I got my what I use a lot of is like for adhering things down to the layout. I actually use the Flex Seal, the DAP Flex Seal Clear. That's what I use on my. You know, I love. To me, or Plastruck, to me, either one's great. But what I like about the Plastruck is it's got the longer brush for in the bottle. So, out well. So, Jason, on JMRI, have you figured out? Because I spent some time on this a couple nights ago, and then again last night. I wanted to build a military train. Okay? But I didn't want the train to have to go around to all the places where, let's say, flat cars are allowed. Now I could have made military flat cars, and I have a couple of those. And of course, I've got two: the yellow one from you, and then a olive boxcar. So I made those military boxcars. And then I went ahead and made it where it picks up any flat car, because the only flat cars I have are military loads on them right now anyway. And then it starts out at my Santa Fe yard, the Van Buren Street, and picks up any and all that fit those criteria. The other thing in the process I learned is I can have it restrict the caboose to a road name. I saw that there in the very beginning. I didn't register. So now my Burlington will no longer utilize the Army caboose, and the Army, U.S. Army train utilize that caboose. But anyway, it starts in one yard, picks up anything that fits the military criteria, goes to the other yard, and I have it set where it won't do set outs at the second yard, but it will pick up. So it picks up anything else that meets the criteria before it goes off to staging, which is, for all intents and purposes, Fort Hood. And got it set. My tests are okay. It'll be interesting when I actually run operations again, see what it does. So anyway. Alrighty. See you in a bit. That's a good price, Randall. Now, did you get are they the daylight scheme, or are they the two-tone olive scheme? Get both. They never pop in? Yeah. Green show. Walking the dog. I don't know. Might not be awake yet. So if I change the view here, back here, see where I'm starting to highlight the cornices, sills and stuff? But can you tell the two-tone, the multi-colors of the brick? Because there's actually the base color brick, and then there's the other color. Hopefully just subtle enough to add interest. Pick it. Daylight is the orange and yellowish. I forget what they call the other paint scheme. So we'll know when. Streamline cars or heavyweights? Why not, Mystic? Ranks right up there with Birrios for breakfast. You should just tell my fraternity brothers I was lactose intolerant. Chocolate cake. That'll work too. Roy, did you ever answer where you were? Mr. Hardwick. Hey, Carl. Welcome. See you later, Mystic. Don't work too hard. I know I won't. No drive-through daiquiri spots either. That's the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. I mean, Texas had drive-through liquor stores, beer barns. Go to Louisiana, they got drive-through daiquiris. My desk is a mess. Nevada. Oh, okay. All right, Roy. Well, that I could be a truck driver west like you do, Roy. I'd get bored with the scenery. Hard enough time in the Midwest, especially after the corn is harvested. In central Illinois, geez, you can see forever. Everybody complains about Kansas being flat. Never been to central Illinois, I guarantee you. Been down Interstate 39. Wow. Randall, you got more engines, locomotives, and rolling stock. And what do you got? A 4x8 layout? Here comes Jason. Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on? What's up?
So Junior with
I gotta
you?
clear some stuff out. All right.
Hey, Junior.
Yeah, he's with me. This is the guy who gave you your passenger train.
Oh
Yeah.
So, yeah, he still likes it. He still runs it from time to time.
Still got to find him a
So,
couple more cars. Keep looking.
sure. It's a nice locomotive for sure. That E unit is real nice. But
Yeah.
so I know
sure
you were seeing it. No, go ahead.
I made sure I got one DCC ready because if he ever wants to make that jump, at least it'll be easy to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it shouldn't be hard at all. I think Soundtracks has some drop-in decoders. Unplug that radio, but
It should.
I think they do. If not, it's probably going to be probably just a TSU 2200 maybe to go in there, which will be a wired up one. But hey, I mean, it is what it is. Looks like we got the tracks are dead, so I don't see headlights and I don't see green signals.
Uh-oh.
So, but hey, you never know. I mean, we're going to be down here for 50, about 50 minutes. So maybe something will come, and we can show you some live train footage. But so you had a JMRI question, and you started on it, and I'm like,
yeah, I was
just.
It started with my coal drag. All right.
Okay.
In that, I brought it in. I could run it, and after about 3 or 4 operating turnovers, the coal cars were scattered everywhere, and they were never coming back to a location to run it back to my Burlington West staging, which represents Wyoming coal fields.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Do you have your coal cars set up in a kernel?
I don't know what a kern is. I've seen it in the setup,
Okay.
but I never knew what it was.
Okay, so in the cars settings, the kernel is like a consist. So it's designed to keep a group of cars together. So JMRI knows that, hey, we cannot break these cars up.
Well, I don't want to do that either. Because
right. So that's why.
I got to do. And I did have that question. All right. And what I was going to do is just make it all one car. But then I got to thinking, no, I got to break it up because I got to deliver coal, a lumberyard. Right. I got to deliver coal to the harbor. And then I got to deliver coal to a makeshift. It's a track that goes off out of sight. That is the power plant.
Now, when you're doing these drop-offs, are you doing singles or 2 or 3 cars at a time, or how are you doing that?
That's up to JMRI. I deliver the cars come in from the western staging into my Aurora Eola yard. From there, they get, and there's nothing on my Burlington portion of the track that takes coal. Okay, so they get the transfer, either the Burlington transfer or the Santa Fe transfer takes them over to Aurora Eola, where all the other ones, take them all over to Van Buren, where all the other ones are fed out of. Now, what I did find
Gotcha.
and started doing was on the, I think it's the cars setting, where you can return cars when full or return cars when empty, certain locations. I figured that out. So, but that's set for each
Okay.
individual car. So I set them up for when they're empty to go to the Aurora Eola yard where the train, Western Coal Drag, would take them off to staging. So I did do that.
So what you can do is, so you can go in your locations. So this is something that I had to do in one of my towns, because I've got, an ice dock that is to receive reefer cars for, refilling ice for overnight use.
Right.
And the way my schedule is set up with this town, you've got 2 Cotton Belt locals that service it, and then a Rock Island local that comes in after the 2 Cotton Belts leave.
Right.
But if a Rock Island was to bring these reefer cars that are filled with, butchered meat, or they call it dressed meats,
Right.
I didn't want it to go to a normal track, and just be like, hey, the meat would spoil overnight. It needs to go to the ice dock. However, I wanted to make it to where if one of the Cotton Belt cars are bringing a produce reefer, those reefers do not go to the ice dock, because the Rock Island's going to pull those reefer cars out of the interchange and send them to the industry within the same operating day. So I went to locations. I went to the town, went to the ice dock track, which I had as a classification interchange track. But you can even do this as far as like spurs as well. And I put in stipulations that only this train can drop off cars on this track. Only this train can pick up cars from this track. And then that's adding more restrictions. So that way my 2 Cotton Belt trains can't drop off cars there. However, one of them can pick up cars. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I on my icing platform, I've got 3 different tracks, and I've kind of done the same thing there for the icebox reefers.
Yeah. So if you got, let's say you got a specific track in your yard that you want to be for your coal cars, you can go in there on that track and uncheck all the different types, and then just only check your coal car. And then that way, when your coal cars come, they all go back to one place.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of room or
so it's
flexibility, but I got it worked out. Okay, what I ended up doing was I just have it where I have my Western Coal Drag, like outbound as an example, starts at since it's a Burlington staging. Burlington is where the coal fields are. Starts out at my Aurora Eola yard,
right,
and we'll only pick up empty coal cars, coal hoppers. Then it goes to the Santa Fe yard,
okay,
and we'll only pick up empty coal cars and I set that train up where it will not set out empty cars at the Van Buren Street, second place. And then it goes from there to Western staging. So anything that's emptied out that is back at one of those 2 yards will be picked up and taken. Because all the other ones that are at one of the industries that takes a coal car are still in their cycle of unloading. Okay. So I figured that out. Then once I figured that out, I did something similar for a military train, where all my flat cars are standard flats and center depressed are military loads. Okay? My bulkhead flat cars are lumber loads. So it picks up any of those, any and I added the classification of military boxcars for the 2 that I have. And then that train will do the same thing, except it starts at Van Buren, picking up anything military. It goes to the Burlington yard, picks up anything military, and then it goes to the Santa Fe staging track. That take it down to Fort Hood. And then,
Right.
like you alluded to, you got to watch your schedule so that you don't have because when I first set it up, I had a conflict because that track was going to be full.
Right.
Already, so it wouldn't build the car. But that's just a scheduling thing. It's easy to change.
So what I ended up doing on this ice dock, because like I said, I've only got spot for 2 40-foot cars. I limit it as to which train can drop off, which train can pick up, and then I also limit it as which railroad could have cars dropped off there. So that way, not just any reefer line could get dropped off, only one railroad company could get dropped off.
So when it, let me ask you a question on that. So that restriction is based on the train dropping off, or is that restriction based on the road name of the car?
It is all the above, actually, because I've got reefers from different, railroads.
Uh-huh.
Like I've got PFEs, I've got Fruit Growers Express, I've got that Burlington reefer, the BREX. I've got WCLX, which is Wilson Car Lines, and they were specifically meat reefers. And so I only wanted WCLX reefers to be dropped off there. However, if a cotton belt train comes in, say from Jonesboro staging, and it has a WCLX car on it, most likely that car is going to go back out to Hickory Ridge to get dropped off at my meat company. So I didn't need it dropped off at the ice dock. However, if the Rock Island train out of Little Rock comes in off of the Little Rock staging, well, the cotton belt train's already ran. So it would be the next operating session day before that car would move. So I had it set up so Rock Island number 34 can come in. It can drop the reefer car off at the ice dock. However, it cannot pick any up, but it can only drop off WCLX reefer cars. If it's got any other type of reefer in it, it's not going to be carrying meat for one. It's going to be carrying produce, which will end up going to an industry that it services anyways. So that's why I set that one up like that. So the restrictions are all in the location. They're not in the car, they're not in the routes, and they're not in the train. They're all in the location.
Okay.
And so you can set it up as how restrictive you want it.
Yeah,
and then you can even, if you have custom loads, you can go into the custom schedules and restrict it even more.
I've restricted the cars and loads on my locations. So I had another question I was going to ask you. Oh, have you played around with the schedule as it relates to days of the week? Right now, I'm just running
the way that
same,
works. So,
right now, I'm just running the same schedule every day, but I know you can vary that.
So you can. For me, that wouldn't work out because I don't get to run my trains every day. But for someone like you who's retired and you get to operate every day, or like Robert Flying Crow who goes to his train shed almost every night of the week, this would work for y'all because you can have it set up in your custom schedules that certain cars can only be dropped off certain days of the week and certain cars can only be picked up certain days of the week. And the way JMRI looks at it is that if today is Tuesday or today's Friday, right? it's going to look through all your schedules, through all your industries. And if something is not set to any or Friday, it's going to ignore everything on those custom lists at every single.
So it actually works upon the current day of the week, not a
Correct.
fictitious where you start your
Correct.
schedule on a Monday and it may take you a month to get to Tuesday. Going through your trains. It
Correct.
doesn't do that.
Correct.
Yeah, then I don't want to
So
do it either because I don't want to be locked into having to run trains every day.
That it's good for a club size layout that are running every day.
Yeah.
Or, someone who's running trains every day on their own personal layout. Someone like me, it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't want to put a Tuesday or a Thursday in there and be like, okay, well, I didn't get to operate this Tuesday, so I have to wait a whole nother week before that can happen.
Which may throw off what you
it's
want
one of
to do. Let's say I operated today, and there's something in the schedule for tomorrow that I really need to happen before I operate again on Sunday. If I don't operate tomorrow, it can't happen. What I needed to do on Sunday can't happen.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just too restrictive for me. But okay.
Right.
I wasn't sure of how that operated, whether it operated based upon the actual calendar schedule or whether you varied that based upon your own operating time frames. And, there's so much within JMRI.
There you are.
Would you lock up there for a minute?
Oh, my phone just dropped. All right. No, I had a guy texting me or trying to call me, and so I had to reject his phone call. It was like, hey, I'm at lunch. Go send it to the front. He's trying to drop it off, and my tracks are still dark. So this is like the perfect rail fanning spot, I will tell you. Like, I'm sitting in a parking lot, and the tracks bend just so slightly, and then it just straightens out for like 5-6 miles. So I can see 2 blocks worth of signals. And I typically see the headlight pop over the ridge before I see the closest signal come to me that is red. Because UP likes to keep their signals dark for some reason. But if a train's going that direction, then of course I can see that it's green. So
yes, Roy, you can run JMRI.
So if I see red or green, then I know something's about to.
You don't have to have like a week schedule in there.
Do what?
Roy's asking, can't you run JMR daily if you wanted to? Yes.
And on my schedules, yeah. So, and on my schedules, I do not do sequential. I do match. Because the other thing is, if you try to do sequential, it could mess up your ops too. So, I just do match on mine.
What do you? I don't understand what that difference is there.
So, all right. So if you set up a custom schedule, let's say that you got 3 lines, right? The 3 things that your industry could do or could receive and ship out. If it's sequential, then it's going to go from line to line to line. Okay. And some of my industries have like 20 lines because it can receive different cars, ship, different commodities. Certain commodities could be shipped in the same different type of car. So I've got one that's got almost 20 lines on it. If I did sequential, then it would go from one to the next, 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 which is not prototypical per se. If you do it by match, then JMRI is going to look and see what type of cars you have in staging, and will be like, okay, we could put, this, create a load for this in staging and send it here. And it might go from like number 1 to number 17 to number 12 to number 3. It's constantly going up and down the list. It's just looking at the whole list to see what can we send. and then you can set your probabilities. It should be the very first column you can choose from, which I think the highest
Where's this
number
at?
is
Where's this at,
50%.
Jason?
It's in the all right. It's in the custom schedule. So go to one of your locations into one of your spur tracks that you set up
So
a
it's
custom
in
schedule in.
All right, because I thought it was in trains.
No,
Because I have my
no. All
what I
your
thought was a
schedules are in your
schedule in trains.
locations.
So let me go to location. Location. All right, and then go into any one of the locations.
Yeah, any of them.
All right. So I'm there. I don't see any place for schedules.
All right, so if you go to your locations, you'll have to go to one of your like spur tracks.
Yeah.
You did set up custom loads on your cart, right?
Oh. Not that I'm aware of. Where do you do that?
Okay.
Cars?
So are you just using? Yeah, that's on the car. So are you just using empty and loaded or E and L?
Yes. Yes.
Or does your car? Oh, okay. So you still got a lot of setup to do if you wanted to get as restrictive as I do.
I don't think I
In your
need
car, in the car section, under a car type like a box car or a gondola, you can go in there where it has the loads. You can add different load types. Like say, you're in reefers, right? You could add produce, you could add flowers, you could add meats.
When you do that,
all that stuff in there, and you can
so
go
do
and
that.
say,
Are you doing it by car type or are you doing it by car?
the loads are located in the cars. The schedules.
Yeah, I know, but all right. So if I look at the load, I'm in cars, okay? And if I go to boxcar, as an example, and I hit edit, all right, load. You've got empty or loaded, but you can hit edit and add a load, right? Did I lose you? I lost you, didn't I? Hello.
Yeah. I was actually uploading a YouTube video that I started this morning, and it was still going. And I think that was kind of clogging up the network pipe. So, anyways, so what I was saying is the custom loads are located in the cars section. So, like if you open up a reefer, for example, you can go in there and edit the load and add like flowers, produce, meats. Okay.
So
and under each of those loads, you can say that this.
But you're doing that for a particular car.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
So then that
it's the type of car that you're doing it for. You're absolutely right.
Well, I don't want that.
No, it goes by the car type.
Okay, but I'm doing it in a car. So how do I do it by type?
You're just picking a random. It applies it by the type.
Okay, if I pick one of my.
So even though you're going into a random car and adding. Okay.
Okay, so if I pick one of my Coors reefers, ice box reefers, and I go in to edit, and then I go into load, hang on. All right. Okay. So then I go in here and I go to load. And right now, the only loads it has is empty or loaded. So if I edit that,
Right.
I can add a new type
Yep.
of load, like beer. Right?
Yep. You could put like meats, because I
Or
know
beer.
you do meats.
I do, but I do beer too.
Or beer. Yep.
So
You could do beer.
I add that. And I've done this.
You can mark.
I've done this exact same thing for my flat cars for military
Yeah.
load. So now I've added beer.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can save that.
Okay. You can
Now
save
the problem is the only thing that car is going to hold is beer. Right?
No, if you go to another reefer car, if you go to another reefer car and edit it, you should be able to see beer in the loads list.
I can't.
So even though you're going into a car and editing a car for a load, the loads are actually tied to the car type of the car that you edited.
So it applies to
or add the load
any
to.
of those. But okay, so it's not restricting.
Yeah. So for example, if
it's not restricting the load, it's just down to just beer. It could be loaded with anything. Correct? Doesn't know if it's
correct.
If it's loaded. Okay. I'll try it. That's what I've done with my military.
Well, now here. Yeah. So if you only put one load in there, then it's going to be restricted to either empty or whatever that load you created.
Right.
So if you go and add, say, beer and meats, then the cars are going to be, those reefer cars will either, be empty, it'll be loaded with beer, or it's going to be loaded with meats.
Okay.
And then if you want your meats set on a high priority, then you can put your meats as a high priority, where your beer might be a normal priority. And so JMRI is going to pull the meats before they pull the beers.
So let's, as an example, okay, and we'll just run through my icebox reefers, my ice bunkered reefers. I've got a brewery.
Okay.
I've got an ice house. Right. I've got flour mill. Wouldn't necessarily use a reefer. I have my packing plant. I have my bakery. All of those places. I'm trying to think. The furniture place wouldn't. Cement wouldn't. No. All of those places would take. Oh, and I got my grocery distribution. All of those places would take an icebox reefer. Okay. Now, do I, on a location, can you set a location, not for a specific type of car, but a specific type of, because I wouldn't want my beer going to Pepperidge Farm Bakery.
Right. So at Pepperidge Farm Bakery, you would literally state that you only accept certain loads, which, I mean, empty would be one of them if you're shipping something out.
Right. Because I've already gone through all my locations and put whether for this car type, whether it takes an empty or a loaded for each car type. Now I'd go back to those and change them to what product loaded it would be. Okay. That all makes sense. Okay.
I did a video on my JMRI series that was specifically just for custom schedules and custom loads.
I know.
So
I didn't get it.
I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago that one came out.
I watched it. I just didn't get it. Because I thought that when you restrict it, when you put in like we just did beer, okay, that one car was now restricted to just beer. I have to add that to all of the different types of things. Like I have to put grocery, frozen food in. I have to put baked, refrigerated baked goods. I got to put all those different things in and where they're going to.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't restrict it to that single car. Now that you added beer, let's say that you got 15 reefers, right? Let's say that when you added beer to the first one, it actually added beer to all 15
of the ice bunker ones. Yeah.
Right.
And I see that now. I went through and see that now.
So yeah, having a list of all your industries, what they receive, what they don't, or what they receive, and the type of cars they receive, then you can go and pick, those a random car of a specific car type, and then start adding all of those commodities down once you get your full list done. So you have a little homework to do on that first, and I had to do that as well.
Can you set your locations for what they ship?
Yes.
Okay. So where's that?
That's done. All of that is done in the custom schedule that you have to create.
And where's that at?
That's in the locations. So you have to go to the location, the actual location area, and the spur track. So you have to edit that spur track. So, for example, like I got the Shack-A-Sit Furniture Company, right? It has one track. It receives lumber, it receives textiles, and it ships out furniture. So when I'm shipping out furniture, I need to make sure that I receive an empty boxcar. So the way my schedules are set up is I've got 40-foot double doors, 50-foot double doors as a car type. So I edited some of my car types instead of just saying boxcar, because I didn't want double door boxcars going over to Riceland. So I did that for a reason. So Shack-A-Sit can receive 40-foot and 50-foot double door boxcars with either lumber or textiles, but it also receives 40-foot and double door or 50-foot double door cotton belt Southern Pacific TN&O boxcars to ship out the furniture in. Because typically the railroad that serviced an industry would use their cars to ship commodities out.
Okay, so the schedule, I'm in the place where it says schedule, okay, for my bird.
Yeah.
And it's not really a schedule. Okay. There's no time.
Well, you got to add your line items. And so, like the first line item,
it's ID.
No, it's not a. It's got to be done at this exact time. It doesn't work that way. The way the schedule works,
the verbiage had me.
It's just saying. Yeah, it's just basically stating that this industry, if this type of car comes in, when it's done and the operating thing is over, we want you to change it from this load to this load. So like Passmore Gas, I've only got one item in the schedule. I can receive any type of tank car, anything that's TM, and all of my tankers are 40-footers, but even 50-footers. If it's a TM, it's a TM. So I receive a TM full of LPG, and then after the train runs it, then it's going to go from LPG to empty. So that way the next train can come pick it up.
Well, I figured out what the next 6 months I'm going to be doing after I get done with building Aurora.
Yeah. Doing the custom loads and schedules is very, very time consuming.
Yes.
I mean, super, super time consuming.
Yeah, next 6 months worth.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, I got a headlight down there.
No, we are not.
Hey, we're still on lunch. So.
I want to go catch them.
And I see a headlight.
Now, where you're sitting,
So-
is that the same place as right outside the hobby shop?
No, the hobby shop's actually 45 minutes north.
Oh, okay.
So and of course it's raining. So, oops, wrong button. Let me see if I can't flip the camera around.
And it rained like hell here yesterday afternoon.
It was sleeting here just a second ago. But yeah, there's the tracks. So I'm actually facing north. And it's going to be hard for y'all to tell, but if you look through the back window, you might be able to see a light off in the distance. And he looks like he's on track number 2 because I don't see the signal on track 1's not lit red. So I'll probably just have my phone sitting here like that. And I think what I'm going to do is get my GoPro. When he gets a little closer, I'm going to get it ready to get out there and record it.
I want to hide under here.
Okay, you hide. So,
I don't think I can fit here. I can try.
Yeah,
But
you guys
no,
talk
probably
about sleet and snow, and damn. There's a reason why I moved to Florida.
it was like 57 this morning, and now it's saying it's 49, and it was raining a second ago, and it wasn't like a lot of sleet, but like I could see on the top of my hood like little bitty pieces of ice accumulating. It's already melted by now, you know.
People down here can't drive on a clear, sunny day, let alone if there's sleet and snow.
Yeah. Oh, that's the same thing. People here don't know how to drive, period. So. It's insane.
It's just
Coming?
God's luck.
Hey, don't do that, please. Junior over here is getting a little unrestless.
I bet he is.
So, of course, on the rainy days, I can't get him to go outside and burn energy. So,
Put him to work on the layout.
so Amanda, I had to take her to the airport yesterday, so she flew out to Arizona. So she's over where Vinny's at, and for a conference. And so I'm having to play mom. I'm having to play mom yesterday, today. Now this evening we're going to meet up with my parents, so they're getting him for the weekend. Thank God.
What?
Yeah.
Why you say that? Are you saying you don't love your son?
No, that's not what I say at all.
You say you don't love your son.
He just needs a vacation.
You say you don't like me. You say
No.
you don't love
But
me.
I'll get him back Monday, so I'll have him Monday, and then late Monday night, almost midnight, we have to pick her up from the airport. So,
Tell you what, this is a good time of year to be out in Phoenix.
yeah, tell me about it.
I used to schedule my conferences, safety guys, my regional guys out there. Except I couldn't afford to do it this time of year. We always did it in the summer. Hated me for it.
I wanted to go with her because it was her first time flying, so she was a little nervous about that.
Oh my.
She's never flew before, and then her mom and dad's never flown, so like there was really no one to tell her like, hey, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. She also suffers from anxiety, like bad anxiety, so that didn't help. And so I wanted to go with her, but it's either I went with her or I go to scout camp with Aaron. I couldn't do both.
Right.
So
So Aaron won.
Yeah, and this will be his first year at scout camp, so it's like 2 firsts.
So
You know,
you going to Fillmore?
No, not Philmont. It's going. It's here in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
So it's just at the local scout reservation. Stop, son. So.
Because my wife, she was a advisor for a co-ed group of Explorer Scouts.
Oh,
They used to go I used to go to Philmont every year.
I'm a hide. There's a train coming. I'm a hide.
All right, so what I'm going to do, because he is getting close enough that I can see his headlight and his ditch lights, I'm going to flip this camera back around, and I'm going to get the tripod out on the hood of my truck.
Okay.
I might put the tripod on the roof. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So that way y'all can see
In
it
the
going
rain.
by. In the rain.
It's a GoPro.
Yeah, I've got a GoPro. So
Okay.
it's a 8. So I'm gonna do that real quick.
I'm hiding.
You're a total coward. Okay.
No. I'm
Let's see. My first flight from Flint, Michigan to Chicago O'Hare in about 1969.
I must stand up from that
Ish.
I'm gonna stand out from that train like a
Oh, I take it back. That was my first commercial flight.
No.
First flight was in a pontoon plane up in the Chain Lakes up northern Wisconsin.
So
That was like the year before, 67, 68, somewhere in there.
oh, hold on. I gotta hit that record button. Looks like the Onion Pacific.
Onion?
Steve, you still there? Yep, there you
Yeah,
are.
I'm here. I'm looking.
Yep, he's I don't know if you can see his headlights. Stop
Not
it.
yet.
Yes, I
He
see
should
him.
be right behind that pole.
All right, hi.
I see him. Hopefully he doesn't
I think
blow
I see the light.
Yep,
right.
there he is.
Yeah, there he is. I see him.
Yeah, he's going fairly slow.
Hopefully he doesn't
Fast
blow.
me.
There we go. Clean that windshield off for you.
I had somebody ask me, how come I don't have any graffiti on any of my cars? I used to tell them, because in 1965, you didn't have graffiti on the cars.
They did, just not. It wasn't very colorful. It was all chalk.
I don't ever remember seeing graffiti on a real car.
It wasn't very common because they didn't have the spray paint like we do today,
Uh-huh.
and it was mostly hobos that would graffiti it, and they would just put like their initials or something, just stating, that they've been there. Oh, that's cool. It's like a snake. It was just more like scribble, but even sometimes like the railroad crews would use chalk on it, so that way they knew if if it's a car that they need to set out, like on a local or a yard job.
Uh-huh.
But it was all chalk, no spray paint, so it's not like today.
Now, I do remember into the 70s that graffiti started, and plus vandalism started a lot on the auto racks. That's why they started enclosing the auto racks.
There's a couple of brand new tank cars.
Give me one SWAT back, please. I promise I won't use it.
Got some pipe loads and some gondolas. Stop there. And on a bulkhead flat.
My SWAT back.
I know you do.
Fine, I'm gonna jump.
Ooh, what is this coming? We got a Golden West service with Southern Pacific reporting marks fixing to come up in front of us right about now. That's a good one.
That looks. Do you think the Subway Surfers will be
Oh, all right. Now I got Steve. You got my lucky catch of the day. It's fixing to come in front of us. I have yet to see one of these that I filmed right there.
Cotton belt.
There's not many of those not patched. Most of them are all patched.
Yeah.
You know, like this CMO right here, it's got the UP shield on it. Here's a Chicago Northwestern with the UP shield on it. So like that Mopac with the shield, there's another Golden West service. Yep. Oh, looks like we got some UP maintenance away cars coming too.
Hey, Dad, do you think Subway Surfers will be here soon?
Yes. That's pretty cool. The Tasmanian Devil on that one car. Here's a maintenance away stuff. So these are actually modified well cars that they use to carry ties.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say they look like well cars to me. They don't look like maintenance way.
Yeah, they're modified. So originally, I think they were well cars that they sealed the bottom of. They're kind of like a well car gondola, I guess you could say. British Columbia, that Bulkhead Flats at BC.
Huh.
You don't see many of those anymore. Not sure what that is, or what that was, or these two.
Huh.
I'll have to see if I can't look those up. And the end's coming. And we got a coil car, CSX. And that's it.
That's it. Huh.
Yeah, he's actually running slow, and that's because they got a lot of maintenance stuff going on north of me.
Roy says he missed getting pics of 4 Diffco dump cars.
Oh, did he?
Now, I don't know what a Diffco dump car is.
I've actually got a thumbnail with some Dipco dump cars on it. If you go and look at my rail fanning playlist, you'll see a thumbnail that says Difco dump cars on it.
Okay,
But what they're designed to do is they've got these pneumatic things under them, and it will take the car and literally flip it like up, and then the sides will fold down.
Oh, okay.
So they carry like ballast, slag rock, stuff like that.
Okay.
I've seen a few videos on YouTube where railroads were having to use Difco dump cars to pour ballast and stuff off the side where the bank was washing away to help prevent it, from taking out the tracks. So I've
They
seen
just use a regular ballast topper, with the side discharge.
because it's so low. This actually dumps the whole car like quick. So the cars that you're talking about, where they discharge ballast along the sides or the center, between the rails, it's a slow pour. So you take a whole bunch of it.
Randall says keep an eye out for a well car with Ren and Stimpy on it.
Okay. Well, I caught an intermodal. I think it wasn't yesterday, the day before. So I'll have to look and see if it had Ren and Stimpy on it. So
He hasn't seen it.
I caught some pretty
in
cool
Springfield
stuff
a couple years ago.
So I've seen Astro, from the Jetsons. I've seen him graffitied on a car. The Great Gazoo. I think he was also from the Jetsons. Put that up, Aaron.
Yes, he was.
And then I've seen.
I'm surprised you know who he is, who they are.
Hey, I grew up watching cartoons that my parents used to watch. So Scooby Doo and then of course I've seen some more modern stuff like I've seen Johnny Bravo graffitied on a car, and I thought that was pretty cool.
No.
Because Johnny Bravo's basically Elvis but with blonde hair.
I wouldn't know Johnny Bravo at all.
He talks just like Elvis. Just like Elvis. So
I grew up in the day where from 7 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays was nothing but cartoons.
Yep. Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
I remember that. So. Well, Steve, I hate to run, man, but my lunch break's just about over.
Yep. I'm going to call it quits here as well. We're at an hour and a half anyway. So, and I want to get back to working on Aurora because I got 6 months more of JMI programming to do. So, thanks to you. It's all your fault.
Well, it'd be all right. If you need help with it, let me know. I'm still tweaking my JMRI as well. I found out how to move cars from staging to storage and vice versa. So I plan on doing a video. I'll have to make a video on that.
I was just going to make a fictitious staging track that would hold all kinds of cars.
The only thing about staging, the way staging works, is it's you can't break the cars up, so it's like you have to create another train to come out of your staging and go to storage. But you don't put any restrictions on like which locomotives, unless you got like extra locomotives off track as well. So if you want to do like some loco swaps, that's cool too. But the storage
like right
container.
Here.
So I've got this little parts tray, and it's got like 20-something drawers, like 27, 30 drawers on it, and that's what I'm using to store my cars. So I'm setting each drawer up as an individual track. So I'm setting.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm setting that up as a classification interchange track or tracks.
Why?
For this location, so that way JMRI will tell me to pull out a car out of this drawer, pull a car out of that drawer, and at the same time, it's telling me to take a car off my train and put in that drawer. So
okay,
that
I was going to do it. I was going to do it the other way. IKEA makes a cabinet thing with the right size drawers that I'm going to have in here. And I think it's a 6 or 7 drawer option. So I was going to make a staging track for each one of those drawers because, and I may do a mix because I've got too many passenger trains right now. I've got too many, and eventually I'll have 4 too many. And put each one of those passenger trains to a staging track.
Right.
By drawer. But I like the idea also of the classification for freight cars. All right. Because you're right. Then JMRI will tell you pull one from here, pull one from that drawer, this drawer, whatever.
Yeah, especially if like if you're going to be doing it like me, where I've got a drawer full of tank cars, I got a drawer full of reefers, I got a drawer. I'm not mixing the freight that's in my drawers. My drawers are all organized, and so
how will you do it? How will JMRI? You set the staging tracks only to accept certain kinds of cars?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can set your storage drawers to only accept, say, tank cars, or to only accept maintenance away.
Okay.
So that's you can do that. Yeah, you just throw restrictions on it. Say if you got some spare locomotives and you want to be able to pull, Like, instead of bringing the same Alco RS3 back on the local, maybe I want to swap it for something else. Oh, Lord, I realized I forgot something.
Junior?
Hold on. Hold on. Hey, I got to go.
All
Stay in
right,
the truck.
bye.
All right, bye.
Forget your tripod?
Yep. Yep, I forgot it.
I've been there, done that. Not a tripod, a camera. All right, folks. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it a day too. All right. So, hey, thanks everybody for joining us here at the Retirement Railroad, our Friday live stream and mail call. Wasn't much of a mail call today. But anyway. Anyway, I got to laugh. So, again, thanks for joining us here at Retirement Railroad. I'm Steve, and y'all have a great day. Bye. Thanks, Randall. Bye.